Welcome to the Stretch to Go podcast. My name is Ian Ray, your host for today, and I have the pleasure of speaking with Steve Pruiksma. Is that correct?
Pretty close.
Pruiksma. Dang it. Okay. From Hawthorne, New Jersey, personal trainer, Fascia practitioner, level 3.
Level 3, yeah.
Steve, welcome to the Stretch to Go podcast.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me. And don't worry about the last name. We got that growing up with the telemarketers calling the house. We had all different types of pronunciations of the name. So I'm 100% used to it.
So tell me, man, I want to have the audience hear who you are, what you're doing right now in your space of work, how you got started in personal training and even fascia stretch therapy.
Sure, yeah. So right now, the majority of what I do is honestly personal training, with about the split being like 70-30. I had a big influx of personal training clients back in like September, and it just like took off from there. But a little bit of a background on like how I got into that. I grew up as an athlete, played soccer, track and field. Those were like my jam growing up. So I was always in like that athletic space, always loved to play sports, whether it was those two or just playing hockey and things with the friends. So as I kind of grew older, I got to the end of high school, found the weight room, got into weight training, bodybuilding.com, Scott Herman videos, the Hodge twins, all that stuff on YouTube. That's when like YouTube was on its at the height. Yeah. My brother and I got into just training, getting into the gym, getting comfortable around free weights and machines and all that type of stuff. That kind of transitioned into some strength training where I wanted to see, how heavy I can lift. Some ego lifting for sure. Mm-hmm. And that led to some like injuries in my own like personal life where I had some shoulder stuff going on, some neck stuff going on. And that was like a real wake up call for me at the time where I was just go. That's all I really knew. That's what we were taught growing up was like just push harder, go faster, be stronger. And that's how you were supposed to like get better. But it was at that time where I found yoga, and yoga was like the thing that really I think it changed my life. It kind of just redirected my life in a different direction that I needed, because it taught me to slow down and the importance of not just stretching, but the importance of just breathing and regulating your nervous system and just being able to slow down and let your body like recover and let your body release tension. And that's really that's really like the fork in the road that kind of sent me off in the other direction towards, eventually finding fascia stretch therapy. So the first step I took after doing a little bit of yoga and healing my body was I found this company called 023. It's like they stood for the other 23 hours of the day.
Okay.
So their mission was to help people who were in the gym focus on the stuff outside of the gym, the food, the sleep, the movement, the mindset. So like, this is pretty interesting. I think this could not only benefit myself, but this could benefit the clients that I'm working with. At the time, I had graduated with a degree in exercise physiology from William Patterson University. I've been working at a couple different gyms, and I just knew that the clients that I was working with needed a little bit more. They were kind of like me. Like I saw myself in them where they were coming to the gym. They were really, really working hard in the moment, but they weren't getting closer to the goals that they wanted, whether that was for sport or for losing the weight they wanted to lose or to just be more mobile. So in a way, I was using that course to try to help my clients, but at the same time, I was using it to try to learn about like, okay, how do I help myself get out of this hole that I dug? So that, fast forward a little bit, went through that course, was working with clients, and I had a client or somebody reach out to me who was interested in the course. Her name is Jacqueline, and Jacqueline is now a level 3 FST practitioner out of North Jersey. We actually went to the same high school. Like we had some of the same circle growing up. It was like this really strange thing. But she ended up being one of my clients through the 023 program. And she was always talking about FST, like doing body work, working on people, having her clients, having her own business. And I was like, all right. We got to the end of our 12-week program. I was like, all right, I gotta ask like what this is all about. I still had some of that nagging shoulder stuff, neck stuff going on. I was like, all right, I need a session. So she came over to the gym I was working at. I got on the table. We did a 60-minute session and I was like sold. I remember she went into the bathroom after just to like wash up, gave me a couple minutes to myself. And I had like just this release. I had like not like an emotional release, but it was just like there wasn't a ton of emotion behind it, but there was tears going down my face. And then instantly it turned into like this laughter. Like I just was uncontrollably laughing. And it was at that moment where I was just like I was sold. I was sold on FST. So yeah, that's a little bit of on how where I started, how I kind of heard about FST, and kind of like
Mm-hmm.
how I got from A to B. But yeah, man, it was a probably like a 2-3 year journey that I just took you guys through there.
Dang, that's crazy, man. Yeah, it's so that's a coincidence. I mean, imagine if you never met her or if she wasn't your client. Like, dude, like you probably will be feeling that nagging neck and shoulder till today. And I think that's wonderful that that made an impact for you to know that this is this is an authentic, real thing that people can benefit from. It's not just stretching your neck, isolated neck. It's like I said, releasing stored trauma, I'm sure. Tension that's been built up there. So that's awesome. Um, so you were sold, didn't have any hesitancy to go to the class. But what if about those people like myself, from the outside who never had anyone to, just looking on maybe online to learn about stretch therapy? If someone is on the fence about going to the stretch doing course, what would you tell them?
Yeah, for someone who's kind of on the fence, they're not sure. I'd say definitely find someone in your area, like experience it for yourself, because that's honestly what sold me. I had the one
Mhm.
session. I was about 99% sure. I'm the type of person who really wants to research and make sure I'm making the right decision before not just the financial commitment to it, but also the investment into the time going out there and everything else that's involved in the future of now, okay, building this into my current offering. So I did have one more session with her after, just to like, I'm like, I gotta make sure this is it. And I remember that same night I pulled the trigger on the level 1 course and I went out there. So yeah, for anybody on the fence, hire a practitioner, maybe get a couple sessions done, see if it's something that kind of jives with you, and like, don't be afraid. Like it should be an uncomfortable decision. Lean into that discomfort, and you won't regret it.
So your current demographic population that you're currently working with, who are they? What do they do? And like, how do you treat them?
Yeah, so it's a mixed bag, I'd say, but the majority of fall into the category of like active adults. I'd say whether they're in the gym right now or they're like, I work with a lot of golfers as well. So guys who are just trying to, get strokes down on their game and just continue as they get into their, their 40s, their 50s, their 60s. They want to just be able to get out, on the course and be able to swing a golf club well, or they want to be, in the gym and still be able to do the things that they were doing in their 20s and 30s. Maybe
Mhm.
not at the same intensities that they were doing back then, but they just want to like be able to do that stuff still. So yeah, that's like the majority, I'd say, of guys I work with. Majority of them are men. I do work with a handful of women as well, but I'd say the majority of them right now are, guys between their 40s and 60s.
And outside the box stretch therapy, how did you come up with that name?
Well, it kind of goes into that backstory I was telling earlier.
Uh,
Yeah, I tried a bunch of things like for that shoulder. It's just all the things that you Google your symptoms online. It's like do this stretch, do this, do this, do this, and nothing was working. I was like, man, I gotta think a little bit outside the box here. And like that was always just a recurring thing for me is like I just gotta like don't like if you want to get out of pain, Steve, you gotta do something that you haven't done before. And so I just kept thinking of like, what are like outside the box ideas that I could come up with, things that people aren't doing that you see on Instagram and Google. And it was all the stuff that was like wasn't sexy. It was the, going for walks in nature and doing breath work before bed and getting your 8 hours of sleep and just like being in a more calm, centered state of mind, like for the majority of your day, and then
Uh-huh.
picking up and pushing when you need to push. But I was the complete opposite of that for a while. So it was a different way of thinking for me. So that's where I outside the box kind of stemmed from.
So obviously, what you do any type of like coaching to with your personal training clients, or just strictly personal training FST? This is more like your mantra and like your philosophy of what you're following, or do you kind of pass that on to your clients?
Yeah, I don't have like a coaching, I say like program, but my
Hmm.
coaching is involved with the personal training and with the stretch therapy. It's because I see my scope of practice as not just the 60 minutes or 30 minutes that I'm with the client, but I want them to, like, I don't want them to rely on me. I don't want them to need to schedule their next session. I don't want them to, only be thinking about these things while they're in session with me.
Hmm.
So, it really is like it's not personal training. It's not just stretch. It is really like a coaching session. It's lifestyle coaching within that, so that when they get out of there, they have, maybe one or two nuggets that they've taken from whatever conversation that we've had that day that they can go apply and they can use to just get, 1% better that day or that week, and just continue growing as a person.
Yeah, I agree. We can only do so much on the table for those 30, 60 minutes. It's what are you doing from the time that you get off until next time, or even if you see me, what are you doing? Because I feel like it's those habits compounded. It's probably where it led them to where they're on the table. So it's really, like I said, changing the mindset, changing the habits. I think it's a truly, or lifestyle, I should say, truly. I can't agree more.
And helping them understand that it's not going to happen overnight either. Like you said, it's a compounding effect. It's not what you that bad night of sleep that you got last night. It's the 10 years of going to bed at midnight and waking up for work at 5 a.m. Like you need a while to kind of just like undo that knot.
With your experience of fascia stretch therapy, can you share with us some wins, some success stories that you found of how FSC has helped them?
Yeah, sure. I wouldn't say there's one that really like sticks out like completely, but it's just there's like a common theme with certain individuals, and those are usually the individuals who stick around and keep coming back. And that's the difference in usually their first session, the difference in their demeanor when they come in. You could kind of feel this certain type of tension, this certain type of energy like emitting from them. And then the difference between that and how they act after the session, it's like this, they're a completely different human. And having gone through that and feeling that type of energy within my own body, like they don't even need to describe it to me in words and like how they're feeling. I understand it. And I know how relieving that can feel. Just feeling like there's the weight is off of your shoulders and you can kind of just breathe a little bit deeper into your body and feel a little bit more relaxed there. So you kind of see that look on a person's face when they get up off the table and they look a little stress drunk, I think that is like those are always the biggest wins to me because I go back to how I was feeling and how that felt for me after my first session. I'm like, yeah, yeah, you're feeling good right now.
Yeah, no words needed. I guess, how would you explain fascia to someone who doesn't know about it? Because there's a lot of different quote unquote stretch zones out there, but FST is totally different than what we're doing. So like explain to people like this is why I'm different, unique, because I'm stretching fascia. How do you explain to someone what fascia is? Do you give them an analogy, or do you simply, just tell them I'm just a fascia stretch therapist?
Yeah, so usually the way I describe it is people have always heard that saying like everything's connected. So that's usually the road that I lead them down. One analogy that I'll use with them too is like, I don't know if you've heard like the sweater analogy. If like you're pulling on the thread of a sweater, it's not just that area of the sweater that gets tight, it's the whole thing that kind of bunches up. And so I picture that like fascia, where if you're tight, say you feel tightness in your hamstring, sure, there might be some tension and some tightness in that hamstring, but that could be affecting different areas of your body as well. It could be affecting your low back, it could be affecting your neck. So what we focus on in FST and with the fascia is freeing up those fascial nets so that the entire system can be free of that tension and be operating and gliding more smoothly through movement. And that's how I usually describe it to them.
Awesome. Do you, I guess for you, how do you offer FST to new clients? Like, is it part of like their thing, when they're a personal training client, or is it kind of separate that you do, or how do you include FST with your practice?
So right now I have my outside the box stretch therapy practice where that's my in-home practice where I bring the table to people's homes in Bergen County, Passaic County, North Jersey area. The personal training that I do is within the Ridgewood YMCA. So those two things are pretty separate right now. However,
Mm-hmm.
I do have clients that do both. I've had clients who were personal training clients and you could tell they needed a little bit more, and I've converted them over to stretch therapy clients. And I've had vice versa, where I've had somebody start as a stretch client. They maybe weren't feeling good enough to even like think about going to the gym. We start, increasing their mobility, their range of motion, and just how they're feeling in their body, and they convert over to a personal training client. So it's really like a case by case scenario.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what I love about offering the two different sides of things, is because we don't, it's not just the stretching, it's not just the personal training and the physical fitness. Like it's having both of those, and that being like just a really resilient human being, being able to do all the things that you want to do, being strong, being mobile, being fit, having a healthy cardiovascular system, and just being able to do like cool stuff. That's what I really love helping people get back into doing.
Yeah. It's the whole body approach, the whole body approach of, healing the body. I mean, definitely we can stretch all we want, but it's the strength. And of course, the mobility part too is helping them to use that strength so that they can continue to do those daily activities. Especially, I would say the clients that I have who are, sedentary, or people who are in the geriatric age, they need that mobility, but we also need to build that strength. That is awesome. That is awesome that you're doing that. How long you been there at the Ridgewood YMCA?
I'm coming up on 3 years this June, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, about 2.5 years at this point.
So do you have your own spot, or are you a personal trainer through the YMCA?
No, so I'm a personal trainer through the YMCA. There, yeah, I'm a W employee over
Okay,
there.
cool. That's awesome. I just recently had a fitness expo at the YMCA here locally, and offered FST. So I'm excited because I don't know, YMCA, folks there, they're just, there to focus on their health, but I just was curious how I can include FST with their offerings there. So I don't know if you have any tips of like, do you tell people like I'm an FST practitioner, or does that ever come up like that you do FST?
Yeah, it does. It does. And I'd say the majority of people, at least at the YMCA that I'm going to,
Mm-hmm.
they're there to work out. They're there to maybe go hit the sauna, things that like they're in their routines. So it does come up like every once in a while. Like I said, I've transferred some clients that were, whether I do coach some functional fitness classes over there as well. So I do let them know that, hey guys, like this isn't, I don't just do classes here. I do offer a personal training and stretch therapy as well. And
Mm-hmm.
there's some interest in it. I think a lot of them have questions, like they just don't understand what it is. And so that's on, it's on our jobs as practitioners to be able to not just be able to give it to them like in words, but also to like have your table there, like show them, like give them some free trials of sessions, like get them 10 minutes after class on the table and just let them experience it. It goes back to what we were talking about before, like the experience is everything. Sometimes you can't just describe it in words, like you gotta just get on the table and feel it for yourself.
Yeah.
So
That's such a common theme for every person I've interviewed is like the same thing. You have to get on the table, which it is. I mean, there's not much we can explain to you. Like how you and I experience it, like everything, the magic happens on the table. So yeah, it's awesome, man. I'm switching gears. What are your long-term goals for your practice with, outside the box and of course personal training? What do you kind of envision in the next 5-10 years?
Yeah. I just want to keep helping people. There's no clear set goals right now. I always had trouble with that as a kid. Is like, tell me your 5 to 10 year plan. Like, I kind of have a general vision of, where I want to go, but I like to stay really in the moment and just focus on the people that I have in front of me. Show up every day, help the people who are in front of me at that moment, and good things are going to happen. Yeah. So don't have a great answer as like 5, 10 years from now. It's just, continue to learn, continue to get, develop myself as a personal trainer, as a stretch therapist, as a health and wellness professional, and whatever it evolves into, like it was meant to be.
How do you personally see fascia stretch therapy itself evolving in the future? You've been doing this for a while. You probably heard, some rumblings, some stories here about how stretch to win is expanding this. But you personally, where do you see FST growing?
Well, I really hope that it's going to be huge. It's going to be something that, the majority of the population, like, they can easily understand, and they know what it is. Like how a chiropractor or an acupuncturist or a massage therapist, like all my clients, personal training, or the people who come to the class, or people I just see on the street, like everyone knows what that is. But when you talk to people about fascia stretch therapy, it's, not a ton of people do have like a deep understanding of what it is or have experienced it. But with stretch to win expanding and more practitioners becoming practitioners pretty much every single month out there, it's really going to start to take over, and it's going to start to just compound. People are really going to start to understand what it is, and start to experience it for themselves. So I'm excited to see, that day come where, everyone knows what it is. Everybody has their own stretch therapist, and it's just like a common thing in the world, and we're getting there.
Yeah. Last two questions, I guess, is what marketing or sales strategies have you found most effective in gaining new clients, whether if it's your stretch or your personal and training clients? And what have you found most effective in retaining them?
As far as getting new clients, easy answer for that one, word of mouth. Like the easiest way, like it's easy, but it's hard, I guess. Not a lot of people, like, you kind of have to push your clientele to, hey, like, if you know of anybody, like, share your story, things like that. But you keep servicing them well. You show up, you give them a good experience, you treat them well, and they're going to treat you well too in the long term. I've tried, email blasts and marketing stuff on Instagram, and it hasn't worked for me. The best thing that's worked for me so far is just word of mouth. I have a couple clients who, I sell packages, and some of them will give part of their package to somebody new. That's been the most that I've gotten from like a new client standpoint, is that new client gets a free session from their friend, and they sign up, they get into a package, they give it to a friend, they get into a package. And so it's just yeah, that's been the best way for me. And then what was the other part of the question that you asked there?
I guess, like, how do you retain your current clients,
It's like any type of relationship, right? That's what we're in, is how do you maintain any friendship or relationship? It's, you continue to do the good stuff. You reach out to them, you see how they're feeling after their session, you show up on time, you listen to them, and then you do the best job that you can do with what you know, whether you're a level 1 or whether you're a level 4. Doesn't really matter. It's just, it's building that relationship with your client and just treating them with the utmost respect that you can.
Well, man, thank you so much. those are things that I think most people will, gravitate towards, is especially like this is a more a personal thing that we do. We're not cold calling people. We are not door to door, not salesmen. We are people working with individuals and their needs. So I definitely feel like this has been my calling with the type of work I've done in the past, where I find more joy giving and seeing those translating into, of course, helping them get to where they want to go. So yeah, man. I'd love to have you, of course, share with the audience how people can follow you, learn more about what you're doing, and of course, book a session, whether if it's PT or a stretch therapy session. So feel free to share your social media handle, email, a website, and of course, a way to contact you.
Sure thing, yeah. So you can follow my business page on Instagram. It's OTB, stands for outside the box. OTB Stretch Therapy on Instagram. You can also follow my personal page. I post some stuff on there as well. That's Pruiks, Pruiks. My website, you can find me there at otbstretchtherapy.com. Has a lot of information about my backstory, my offerings, how you can get in contact with me there as well. Has my business cell number on there as well. So you can go to the website, find my number. You could always just shoot me a text there, shoot me a DM on Instagram. That's probably the best way to contact me. If you're in the Bergen County area, come on over to the Ridgewood YMCA, talk to Steve, and I'll get you set up with some personal training.
Cool, man. Well, for those of you listening, please don't forget to follow, like, subscribe to the Stretch to Go podcast. Learn more. We drop new episodes every Friday, 7 a.m. Eastern. And of course, those of you who are listening who want to become a practitioner, who are wanting to find a practitioner like Steve and I, go to stretchtowin.com, where you can learn more about this wonderful modality that Chris and Ann Frederick have put together. Their mission is to just really make fascia stretch therapy, like I said, well known worldwide. It's a game changer for me, someone who's never had any type of body work done. And like I said, for Steve, it's changed people's lives. So please go visit there, where you can either become a practitioner or find someone closest to you. Steve, man, thanks again for hopping on. Appreciate the talk, and best of luck, man, in your practice.
All right, I appreciate you having me, and thanks for everything, man. Good talking.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much.